Fear no man. It's about that time. Jake Paul versus Mike Perry. We're one day away. Mamma mia. This is going to be one of those fights where you know something's going to happen. You know it's going to get nasty. It's going to get down and dirty. Now let's get straight into it. Jake Paul. A lot of things can be said about Jake Paul. A lot of things can be said. A lot of people say he's not a boxer. A lot of people do not like him. But at the end of the day, if he didn't start as a YouTube star, if he wasn't this Disney Channel guy, if he was just some random dude that started boxing and his first few fights were knocking out all these guys, putting down Anderson Silva, knocking out Tyron Woodley, fighting Tommy Fury, all these big fights he's taken, he would have been one of the biggest guys in the world, one of the publicly, which he kind of is right now. A lot of people know who he is. And at the end of the day, it's not about being the nicest guy in the world. It's not about everyone loving you. It's about everyone knowing who you are. And what he's done is gotten everyone to turn their head and know who Jake Paul is. No matter if you like him, if you don't like him. I think he's played the villain role so well to where some people have started to like him. And it's just, he has power. He has power. And you gotta accept that he does have power. Yeah, the two guys he's fought, his last two fights, haven't been really good at all. But they're boxers, and that's what they wanted to see. You want to see him fight boxers, but at the end of the day, your first few fights against boxers, you're supposed to just walk over them. That's what you're supposed to build your record. That's what technically those fights were. And a lot of people complain because they don't realize is that all these other big time fighters, their first pro fight was against some little nobody. Was against a nobody. Their first pro fights, they weren't fighting these big fights. I see people just telling them, fight Canelo already, fight all these other guys. And it's like, okay, boxers' first few fights are never against other good fighters. You see these other fighters that are already 30-0 and all that, and they're still fighting people that aren't that good. So you gotta stop judging him just off the sole base that he's a Disney star, a YouTube star that should be fighting these massive fights. He's trying to be a boxer. And that means you gotta build your resume, but at the same time, people are gonna keep judging him no matter what route he takes. He could fight real boxers. People aren't going to know who they are. People aren't going to want to watch because they're not going to care. And they're be like, oh, who's this bum? Or he could take the route of fighting named people like how he fought Woodley, Silva, Diaz. And people are going to watch, but people are going to say it's not a real fighter. It's not a real boxer. So I feel like either way, he's taking a stab here from either direction. But I think he's really shown that I wouldn't say he's a top boxer. I wouldn't say that at all, but he's a very mid-tier boxer right now. He's a mid-tier fight. And that's better off than a lot of people already. So let's see his competition. Because his last fights here, he lost to Tommy Fury. After that, he came back against Nate Diaz, which I didn't think he did as good as he should have. I think Nate Diaz kind of showed a little bit of a jokish of him. Kind of showed that you're not going to hurt me like that. And kind of made jokes of the fight. And then he went on to fight the two boxers. They used to be boxers, kind of milkmen now, but at the end of the day, this is where he realized to make that big bucks again, I got to fight a bigger fight, which is supposed to be Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson dropped out because he was kind of hurt. I was supposed to go to that fight in Dallas. I was excited to go to that, but now I got to wait till November to go. Getting me mad just talking about it. Now let's move forward. Mike Perry. This is a bad man. A bad man. Starting in the UFC. Had a reasonable run. Wasn't the best fighter in the world. Moved on and regenerated his career in bare knuckle. Really bought bare knuckle. I think, in my opinion, Mike Perry bought bare knuckle to where it is today. He's building it. He gave it a kick up. And this is a bad man. He had the two fights with Eddie Alvarez, stopping Eddie, putting him down, showing that there's levels to this. And Mike Perry, man, oh man, he's titanium, man. He's iron. He's bad. He's dirty. And I think that he's going to go in there. He's going to brawl. He's going to try to make some brawling fight. Because there's a big difference between boxing and bare knuckle. I know it's in bare knuckle. Things get a little wild. There's a lot of clinching. I think Mike's going to try to use that clinch. Even though he's going to be the smaller guy here. Jake's going to be a lot bigger than Mike. Jake's going to be a lot bigger than Mike. So they should be close to the same weight, but I think there's still going to be a little bit of a difference because at the end of the day, Mike was, I think he's a 170 pounder to fight normally, and that Jake Paul was preparing for a heavyweight fight. We were going to see a heavyweight Jake Paul at 220, so there's going to be a little bit of a difference. Now, who do I think is going to win this fight? Like I said, at the end of the day, bare knuckle boxing, two different sports, two different strategies, two different techniques that are going into it. One is more of a brawling sniper bout, other one's technique, more of the science of the actual striking. I don't see Jake Paul knocking Mike out. I don't see him knocking him out. I'd be shocked. I'd be pretty astonished if he puts out Mike Perry. I think he'll drop Mike Perry probably once or twice. I think there's going to be blood drawn. I think things are going to get dirty. I think it's going to get a little bit of a nasty fight. By the end of the day, my winner, Jake Paul. I have Jake Paul winning this fight. He's the bigger guy, has more of a reach, bigger, stronger, has youth on his side. I just think that this is his fight to win. I think it's not going to be an easy fight. I think it's going to get dirty. I think it's not going to be the fight that Jake wants to fight. I think he may get cut. I think we might see Jake Paul with some blood. But at the end of the day, this is going to be a good fight for him. It's going to be a good fight for everyone. Might be some more respect put on Jake's name after this fight. Y'all have a good one. Lock it in, Jake Paul.